it's hard to believe that there's a good steering knuckle underneath this rust. I mean, this thing is just totally caked and covered in rust and grease and hair. Look at that. Look at all that. It's just 25 years of rust buildup. Oh, a little elbow grease. That's what it should look like. Look at that. Yep. Yep. This is the Astro Pneumatic 4980. Look at that beast. 3/4 inch piston. Takes a 1/2 inch shank. I'm still waiting on the shank. I've got one hammer bit ordered, but the hammer is in the house and I cannot wait to see this thing in action. It weighs about 5 pounds and it has a lot of power. See if it can take off some torsion bar action for me. Man, I am seriously happy about how these steering knuckles came out. Look at this, man. They just came out real nice. Gave them a paint job. They should work well, I think. They should work well enough for another, maybe another 140,000 miles, 150,000 miles, however many it's on the truck. Another 25 years, maybe. And this is a bit disappointing. I tried to save these calipers, but right there is the bleed nipple on one of them. And you can see I tried everything to get that thing out of there. I tried welding a little nut head to it and taking it off, and it just wouldn't come out with it. I can't get my pliers on there to unscrew it or anything like that. It's just freaking stuck. So I'm just gonna get new calipers. Just get a new whole pair. This one seems okay, but it needs new guide pins, and I'm just not gonna bother. The other thing too, you got a closer look at these lines, the hydraulic lines. You can see right there, the outer sheath is all kind of dry rotted and cracked right there and there. Let's see if I can focus this a little bit better. Not really, huh? Yeah, like right there. It's just cracked up a little bit, so I'm gonna get new hydraulic lines for both sides too, and new calipers. Just can't save them. And the other thing, I'm still getting over this cold. The other thing too is I got my new air hammer, but I wasn't able to get the torsion bar off quite yet. I tried, and you know, it just didn't quite work out. I think I don't have it mounted right, or unmounted right, or clamped in place correctly in order to get it hammered off of there. So I'm gonna work on that a little bit more. I'm not giving up on it or anything like that. I did get some, Colleen had some footage of me with this thing out here, but I got my hammer bit, started using that a little bit. It seems powerful, but yeah, I mean, that thing is just so rusted in there. I think I'm gonna I just need to work on it a little bit more to get it out. So I'll get it eventually. Well, this is just a kick in the balls. So I got this transmission line a while back, maybe like a week or two ago. You can see I've got it just sitting here in place. I don't have it, bolted in or anything like that. I just kind of, when I got it, I set it up like this because I was like, oh, this looks right, And then I set it aside because I was waiting for the other one. Now the other one came in just today, and I'm like, well, how the fuck is that gonna reach? I mean, it's about half the length that it needs to be. And so, I don't know, man. These are just, I started looking a little bit closer too at the ends, and I was like, man, do these even fit? And it's got these stupid little quick disconnect things on there, which, I mean, I don't have anywhere on the system. I don't have them on the radiator. I guess I could buy the fittings to put them on the radiator, but still, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to fit that line on there. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to bend my own transmission lines, it looks like. I could probably reuse, like, the rubber hose parts of these ones, at least, I guess. Saving grace out of that, I guess. Using my new air hammer to try and take apart my drive shaft. I took this thing out and it is completely locked up on this whole slide portion here. It's moving out, but like, man, there is just, it's like rusted solid on that slip joint. So that, you know, just working at it. It's kind of slowly getting there with this thing hammering on the end of it. And, you know, I mean, if I break the drive shaft, well, it's already broken, so screw it. I'm trying to fix it now. Got it off. Cleaning up the ends right now. Doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look great, but wouldn't have been able to get it without my Astro pneumatic. Yeah. That's how it should work. With a little grease, but that's how it should work. Nice and slidey. Finished rebuilding this front drive shaft. It's got all new U-joints on both sides. I decided to replace both sides because this one, it wasn't, you know, there wasn't any play in it, but it was kind of like sticky, I guess. So I got 2 new U-joints in it, and the middle section is all cleaned up and it works well. We got a nice new American paint job. Looks pretty sweet. You know, let's see the other side. Yeah, it's got a couple red stripes on it, a couple white stripes on it. Came out all right. So this is a neat little tool. I rarely have gotten, well, actually, I haven't gotten to use it in a really, really long time. It's an adapter for your floor jack. To turn it into a transmission jack. The idea is that you mount it up there and you can strap the transmission right to it, like on these 2 sides here, on these 2 bolt holes or whatever, or strap it down however you want. And then you could angle it with the little, you know, the little turn knob, so you can turn it like, you know, that way or that way to kind of angle the load, kind of help balance the load or whatever. The problem has been that you know, this jack actually doesn't support it. If you look down in there, you see like that bar is right in the way of bolting it down. It can fit on there. Oh, it can fit on there. The problem is that this bolt is supposed to secure it to the bottom so it doesn't wobble around or anything like that. I just can't bolt this down to that because there's no clearance in there. Anyway, I used to be able to use it on this old jack, which I've had sitting around since forever. This is a smaller jack. It's a 2 1/4 ton, I think, or 2 1/2, or that's like a 3 or 3 1/2 ton. So I use that mostly. And the idea is you just take the cup off and you replace it, right? This jack can actually support it, because if you look straight down, you can see there's nothing in the way there. So you can mount that right to the bottom of this thing and bolt it in and secure it in there. So it would be great as long as if this jack worked at all, but there's problems with it, right? It comes with these screws on the side. This one works fine. You can see it's like a peg. It holds this thing in place from wobbling around. The other side, actually, the other side right over here, it's stripped out. I don't even have that bolt anymore. So I got a new bolt, and then that I'm gonna weld to the outside, the nut, and then I could just thread this in and just use it as the regular hinge for it. The other problem with this thing is that it wouldn't pump up at all. Like, you know, the hydraulic part of it just wasn't working. And so I think it's time for a little bit more Marvel Mystery Oil. See if we get this jack back in action. I can have a dedicated transmission jack. I'm gonna use it to help me balance and pull out the front differential. It's looking like it should. Nice and bolted in, just like the other one. Oh, and we have liftoff. Yes, yes we do. Marvel Mystery Oil to the rescue. Well, this is unfortunate. It holds a load just fine, and it raises just fine without a load on it, but it won't lift a load. So I might be able to unload it because I'm standing on it, and you know, it holds that. Might be able to unload it because it does hold the load, but it just won't pump. There's a broken seal. There's a broken seal right here. You can see where it's leaking. And so I've got some O-rings. Hopefully they'll get here by the time I reinstall the differential. If not, I'll find some other way. Yeah, you can even see the little bubbles coming out right there. It's that O-ring is busted, so I'll fix it up. But I should be able to use it regardless to get that thing out. So, time to get it out. Got a couple packages in lately. This is one of the U-bends. I ordered another U-bend in order to get my exhaust put in. A whole bunch of flanges too, so that I'm gonna have the exhaust in a couple of sections. I'm gonna have a front section that connects to the header, and then goes down a little bit to where at least it is pointing straight back underneath the truck, and then go from the and then make another flange there, so that the back portion will be just a catalytic converter and the catalytic converters, and then the cherry bombs. So this is enough. I think bends. I have enough bends in order to get the exhaust bent back there. Of course, I already got the cherry bombs. They've been sitting here for a while. What else did I get? I also got the brake lines, new brake lines for the hydraulic lines, and I got my calipers in too. Painted them up, greased the sleeves on them and everything like that. Amateur tip: don't just use brake calipers out of the box, especially the remanufactured ones. I think I always re-grease the pins on them, and I use wheel bearing grease because it's like a high temp stuff. But I got them painted blue and everything. They look nice. They should work just fine. Let's see. Other than that, oh yeah, I did. I got I got some straight pipe too for the rest of the exhaust. So just 5 4-foot sections. This should get me enough to go 20 feet from Jags. So yeah, I have enough piping to do the exhaust. As far as the exhaust is concerned, I only really need the catalytic converters still as well. But yeah, in time, when I'm ready to build that, I'll probably order them. It's got my 100 O-rings in today for the floor jack. Yeah, you really can't buy these by the single. I get my stuff from McMaster Car, so you know their O-rings usually come in large packs like that. It was only $5 though for 100 O-rings. There's the old one. Got it out. Put a new one in. I haven't tested it yet, and I figured, well, maybe I should test it with something heavy because, you know, it needs something heavy, right? So I got my old Reed Manufacturing 204.5R bench vise up there to bench test my floor jack. Thing comes in at a hefty 70 pounds. And I figure that's probably a good enough test. Let's load her up and see if I can get any pumping action. Oh God! She's fine. She's fine. Trust me, folks. That looked a lot worse than it probably was. This thing tumbled off and got caught up on my toolbox, so it didn't fall very far. It's fine. Lesson learned, make sure your load is secured. I had some play in the linkage down here, and it just got all wobbly when I tried to lift it. Anyway, I got it all sorted out, and I'm gonna just do this and pay attention here. But yeah, she's lifting a load, so looks like it's working pretty good with a load and no leaks. Transmission jack fixed. That would have gone a lot less smooth without this transmission jack. You see, that's the bottom mounting placement for the transmission, or I'm sorry, for the differential. Mounts right there. But you have to kind of pull the differential forward and then out to the side, because you can't go straight down. The end yoke is in the way. But this thing worked out great. It let me wrestle the position around real easy while I was under the car, and it's working like a champ. Love it. Give it a little pump up to me. Got it all strapped down to the platform. Pretty neat. I'm glad to have a transmission jack again. Got my front differential all cleaned up. There's about a pound of grime on this thing. It was crazy. A half-gallon of solvent fixed that though. I was just looking at what it is that I have here, and I think I lucked out. I don't know if the previous owner did this, or if it just came like this, but I don't think it should have. This is a 9¼ inch independent front suspension carrier, which is the biggest GM makes. These go in there like 3/4 and 1 ton pickups. The rear diff is a 10 bolt. I thought it was an 8 bolt earlier, but it is a 10 bolt corporate main, 8.5 inch. So these things should be able to handle all of the power that thing is putting out. I'm happy about that. I'm really happy about that. I gotta get these seals out, these axle stubs out, get some seals in it, reseal the center section. This one should be good to go after that. That was surprisingly easy to replace the seals on this thing and seal it back up. Here's the culprits. Both of these end seals are leaking. They go right in between here, between the axle and housing, right in between here. And then in order to even get at this, you have to take this whole part of this section unbolted from the differential, this extension housing or whatever. And then that's where the other thing was leaking. So I've got that all sealed in there with brand new sealant. And so this thing should be leak free. But it is a little dingy. Kind of like, the housing is aluminum. You can kind of see it's just got, I don't know, just a bunch of crud on it. After I got it out of the gas, I mean, all the grease and shit is off of it, but it still kind of looks a little nasty. I want to see if I can clean it up. I heard Marvel Mystery Oil takes that stuff out. So I'll give it a shot and see. Just finished draining like the last kind of dregs of oil out of this front suspension. I'm gonna tear the this axle off. I should have painted it while I had it off, but the rest of the case cleaned up fine, well enough. The Marvel Mystery Oil is good stuff. But the axles are steel, so, and they're kind of like rust. I have like a rust patina on them, so I'm gonna get some paint on them. But I want to show this to James specifically. That's what the oil looked like in the case, man. That's why you got to change the oil in the differentials after, 25 years of not being used. That's what it should look like. Just finished painting the input shaft and the hub ends on this front differential. I went with blue because it looks nice. I only have black on the insides because, well, these are what bolt up to the CV axles that go on the end. But yeah, I mean, I think it came out all right. relieved. Finally got the lower control arms out of the truck, but they're attached to the torsion bars. And the torsion bars, of course, still attached to the keys. And they are little pork chop keys on there. Couldn't get them off, so I ended up cutting them out. So basically, I don't know if this helps or not, but you can see, like, this is how they sit in the frame. And there's no way of pulling it forward, pulling the torsion bar forward unless you get it free from that key, right? So I just cut out the bottom of it here and then kind of slid them underneath, underneath of it so that I could pull the whole kit and caboodle out forward. And so I finally got them out. I'll be able to get all this stuff apart on my workbench probably with, clamping it in the vise and getting some proper grip on it. Anyway, I'm really happy that I finally got them out. I can finally put some new bushings in there, get them all cleaned up. And that's the last bit attached to the front frame on this truck. That's what a truck frame looks like, completely barren of everything. Well, except a couple of hoses and stuff, but everything else. There she blows.